We peaked at 106 barrels a day. I think the last rate we had, which was last Friday, was 99 barrels a day. So we're knocking on 100 barrels a day from Pine Mills. So it's really been a turnaround. We've almost doubled the production in the field since the start of the workover. So
Hello, you're watching Proactive. Joining me is Nostra Terra Oil and Gas CEO Paul Welsh. Paul, very good to speak with you. You're off the production and operations update, and it looks like the phase two workover program at Pine Mills is really delivering for you.
yeah, no, thanks very much. So thanks for having me on again. We felt it was time to give an update to everybody as where we were. So we did phase one starting in August, got that done, 5 wells, and that delivered at 30 barrels a day. And now the first 3 wells in phase two have so far delivered 10, which seems low. And at the moment, it is a little bit low. But what has happened is that once we restarted the water flood in the north, which is something we did in phase one, the productivity of the wells, or the amount of fluid that the wells are moving in this phase two, is much greater. So 2 of the 3 wells are waiting for bigger pumping units, right? So really one well is on, 1 well is flowing, and 1 well is shut in waiting for a pumping unit. So once those things are corrected, which will be here in the next couple of days, we expect to add another 15 or so barrels a day to where we are at the moment, maybe even 20. Takes up somewhere closer to probably something like 150 as a gross for the company. So things are really going well, and the water flood response took a while to happen. We started injecting water, back in September. The reservoir pressured up finally, and now we're starting to see that move through, and so we're getting a lot more productivity than we expected. So as we said in the press release, we potentially see the volumes increasing above what we originally expected. So it's a really kind of good news story. And the other part of it too is that I had kind of promised our IR guys, and maybe our shareholders, that once we hit 100 barrels a day, I would put out a press release, and I kind of missed that. We hit it, and I just was busy with other stuff. So anyway, we peaked at 106 barrels a day. I think the last rate we had, which was last Friday, was 99 barrels a day. So we're knocking on 100 barrels a day from Pine Mills. So it's really been a turnaround. We've almost doubled the production in the field since the start of the workover. So it's been a really kind of exciting, rewarding program so far.
Yeah, and in fact, you say company total oil production is averaging 130 barrels of oil per day. So going well and also going very, very strongly at Falk.
Yeah, so the Falk wells are producing right at 100 barrels a day. There's 2 wells there, so they average 50 barrels a day each. And the interesting thing about this is that they've been flat at that rate since May of last year. So we're flat at 100 barrels a day, which is incredible. Whereas the average well in the Pine Mills field makes between 6 and 10, these wells are making 50. So it's a fantastic thing. It also gives us confidence that the area that we think is a new area of potential Falk production north of the existing Falk 1 well is there. We've done some technical work, which we've talked a lot about in the past, looking for a location. We found a location. We've sent that location information to our partner, and we're kind of waiting on them to decide how they want to move it forward. And so that process is now ongoing. So we think the stable production rate in the Falk area gives us confidence that that reservoir is a lot larger than just the 2 wells that are in it at the moment.
And Paul, you also say that you continue to be cash flow positive, both at an operating and at a company level. So good news all around. What's the next milestones that investors should be looking out for?
Yeah, so it's really good to be cash flow positive. Making money again at current prices at these levels. The next step for us is to finish the workover program. Get the field back up. Our target to get the field up was north of 100 barrels a day. I think we're going to get there. Company production, with this workover program should be 150-ish. And then we want to drill the Falk well. So those are the kind of the immediate, like, let's call it 2025 plans. Beyond that, because the technical team has now finished working on the Falk area for the moment until we start discussion with a partner, we're going back and looking for areas that are in existing wellbores kind of behind pipe, because we have a bunch of faults and a bunch of different horizons in Pine Mills. So we're looking for new opportunities there. And then again, we can grow this to a certain point, but then we're going to need to kind of bolt on and add some additional assets. So somewhere down the road, we're gonna look for, potentially an acquisition in and around the area because we're, as we discussed up front, but we're at the moment Texas focused. So we have assets in East Texas, which is our primary asset in Pine Mills, and then we have an asset in West Texas that we were going to sell, but we didn't get the price we wanted, and now it's actually doing really well. So we're probably going to keep it because it's making us a decent amount of cash flow on a monthly basis. So I think the future is just continue more of the same, finish the workover program, drill the Falk well, look for additional opportunities within the Pine Mill field, and then potentially look for other opportunities, outside of Pine Mills or outside of the existing asset base. Because we got to grow this thing. I mean, we need to get to 5,000 barrels a day, and again, we're at 130 at the moment, so we got a long way to go. But we're heading in the right direction, we think.
Well, I hope you'll keep us posted on any progress. Paul, thanks very much for the update today.
All right, thank you. Appreciate your time.
And yours. That's Paul Welsh, the CEO of Nostra Terra Oil and Gas.